Well, hello everybody. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys and you guys and you guys for watching the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. And man, I'm sitting here working in my workshop because that's what we do here. And something I've been talking about for a little while now has finally happened today. Today, friends. The Dallas Cowboys, in one of those moves that you wish that they didn't have to do, but you understand why they have to do it, because Travis Frederick retired. Well, today, the Dallas Cowboys have put him on the retired list. So that means that they got $7 million more on the cap. So that takes us from four. What's good, Gridiron Blitz? What's up, man? That takes them from almost $5 million to almost $12 million in cap space. What you actually have to look at, as much as we give the Dallas Cowboys crap, you got to look at it and say the Dallas Cowboys have actually done a hell of a lot this offseason and doing everything with the money that they've had. Hey, I mean, I know we had a lot. What's up? How you doing, Daniel? We had a lot of money to start out with, but we also had a lot of guys that we had to take care of. Between Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, bringing in extra talent and things. The fact that we still have $12 million, that moves us from, I think, 26th to 19th with cap money. Now, if they ever go ahead and get Dak Prescott done there, we'll actually be in the top half of actually having money left over. Let me wash this paintbrush and grab another one. So, the question is, the Dallas Cowboys actually in pretty good shape right now, as far as money-wise. Now, we still have to sign all the rookies and things, but see, the rookie money is really chump change in comparison to signing, like, say, a free agent. They'll be able to sign them for a couple $1 million, basically. How you doing? Dalton will get the start. You know, it's funny how people always dream about the next man up. You know, I'm going to say this about Andy Dalton, and I was actually going to say, any news? Well, the news is, starting tomorrow, that the coaches will be able to return to facilities. So Mike McCarthy and staff will be actually at the Star working out. And you can look and see, there are plans to have a season. You see basketball has already got their contingency plan where 22 teams are going to be going to Orlando. And the end of July, they will actually start having a basketball season that will go into October. Baseball is working on negotiations right now, so it looks like sports are back. If you're in Texas, basically they're saying 50% capacity for restaurants. So some places are opening up more than others. Others are more cautious. Now, back to this Andy Dalton thing. Now, I was actually going to be doing a video later on about the whole Andy Dalton situation. And here's my take on things. Now, again, I am Joe the fan. I'm not a football expert, to say the least, or anything. But one thing that seems to be lost on last year, whether you're a Dak Prescott fan or hater or whatever, you have to look at last year and say that Dak Prescott took some major strides forward. And it's by no coincidence that I think that Kellen Moore became offensive coordinator and that we had John Kitna working with Dak Prescott. Understand, general may not be the best soldier. Does that make sense? You get, because see, there's a difference between being an offensive coordinator versus a position coach. An offensive coordinator has to be the guy who comes up with the game plan. This is my vision. This is what I want us to do. Then it's up to the majors or the colonels or the guys under the generals to make sure, or excuse me, I should say drill sergeants. That's better. Drill sergeants to teach the guys what the game plan is. And that's where John Kitna was the drill sergeant working with Dak Prescott. Because you had to look at Dak Prescott and look at his mechanics, the way they stepped up and improved. The year before, you could see a lot of times when Dak Prescott was stressed, you know, he'd throw off his back leg and he would lose his mechanics. That didn't happen this year. And I think, to no other part, John Kitna was key on that. And I look back at Dak Prescott's rookie year, which nobody expected him to do what he did. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because you got Tony Romo whispering in his ear. But I'm not sure it was Tony Romo that was whispering in his ear as much as it was Mark Sanchez. Butt fumble. And butt fumble worked with him a lot. And so this is where you wonder, can Andy Dalton be Mark Sanchez in a way? Now, truth be told, let's be honest, Dak Prescott's already had more in his short career. Has actually done more than what Andy Dalton's done. Andy Dalton has been to the playoffs 4 times and thrown 1 TD pass and 6 interceptions. He's played a lot of games. And not had a lot of success. However, you have a guy who has experience, and sometimes you may not be the guy who's the master, but you understand what you need to do to master something. And this could be another set of eyes, coach on the field, so to speak. I don't think, and as much as people have this fantasy that Andy Dalton is going to be the recreation of Joe Montana and that all of a sudden he's going to be able to be great, you know, for every Andy Dalton, I can give you a Vinny Testaverde. I can give you a Brad Johnson. I can give you a Randall Cunningham. I can give you a Ryan Leaf, okay? I can give you a Drew Brees. All of these veteran quarterbacks that we thought, oh, well, they're veteran. They did well over there. When they come to the Cowboys, automatically they're going to be great. There's a reason why guys like Andy Dalton, from Baltimore to Denver, now signed with the Jets. Cam Newton, that these guys, Super Chat. Wow, wait, where is it? I see did I miss it? Antoine, damn. Dog, we keep talking like this, people don't start talking about us now. I'm just talking to you on Facebook and stuff now. You my dog. I don't care what they say. So the whole idea that Andy Dalton is going to be the savior for the Cowboys and now all of a sudden we're a Super Bowl team, come on, man. Just stop. Just stop it, okay? But Cowboys currently have $12 million, which is great. Now, some people will say, well, that's before they cut they signed the rookies, which is true. But understand, we also have a lot of guys that are under contract that aren't going to make the team. So it'll kind of work out to being right about there. I'd rather be in the Cowboys position where we've signed free agents and things, and we have $12 million than, say, the Rams, who have $500,000. You follow what I'm saying there? We're actually in pretty good shape. And if they really decided that they want to do something, get Dak Prescott's deal done. You get Dak Prescott's deal done, you got about another $10 million. Or if that doesn't suit you guys, if you'd rather pay him the franchise tag price, and I can understand where you're coming from with that, they could always tap up Zach Martin for a quick $8 million by restructuring his deal with a stroke of a pen. And these are all tools that are available to the Cowboys. I don't recommend doing that because that's what got us into trouble all those years ago, because we used guys like Tyron Smith's contract and Tony Romo's and DeMarcus Ware that we would go through and just restructure contracts. Well, that's kind of like a payday loan. Eventually, you got to pay the bills, you're going to lose your car. And that's why we were in cap hell. So regardless of what you think about the Cowboys and so on, they've done a lot for the amount of money that they have. And as bad as it's been waiting for them to get Dak Prescott's contract done, I'm going to say the real reality is for them to put it off for one more year was great for the team. It sucks for Dak Prescott because he hasn't been taken care of, but it enabled them to be able to be in the position that they are. And if you were to ask me, I say the Dallas Cowboys are a better team now than they were at the end of last year. But that's my opinion, and opinions are like assholes. We all have one. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my voice. I've been a little. Forgive me. I have been cussing a lot lately, and I apologize because we have young people. I don't mean to be such a potty mouth. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing what I do, which is work. Cruising. Oh, here we go. Daniel Jones will be, well, get back to me when he is, okay? Don't tell me what he gonna be. Get back to me when he is, all right? Damn giant trolls are even back. Damn. What is this world coming to? You guys are like a plague of locusts. Mr. Mark, we cooling. Well, I'm cooling because I got AC on here in the workshop. It's hot outside, man. It's like 90 degrees outside. I'm like, damn, what the hell happened? We went from like 60 to 90 just like that. So things are happening for our Cowboys. And the only thing left to do, you miss Texas? You miss Texas Heat, huh? Well, the only thing left to do now is we need to get Dak Prescott's deal done. Get that extra cash. And from what I'm hearing right now, there's nothing on the Jamal Adams front. That there's not, the Cowboys aren't showing a whole lot of interest in that situation. So there's that. Or not that. Well, Vegas, it's a little different though. Vegas, you got heat, but you got a dry heat. We get this high humidity, man. That literally makes you feel like the air's thick. I would curse my team if we didn't win in 25. You ain't got no new material. Come on, man. And yet, you still ain't caught up to the Cowboys. Y'all got some serious jokes, but it's all good. I love all y'all guys. What's everybody doing right now? What you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, and what are you doing? What are you doing? Me? I'm painting. Working like you. Daniel Jones. Oh, you pulled out the Giants stuff. Oh, I appreciate that. I need to figure out how to get that with fire coming out of it. I like working. Let me move you guys over this way. All right, so what are your thoughts? Think we're going to have a season with fans in the stands? Think we'll have limited capacity fans in the stands? Or do we think that we're just going to have football? I still think it's going to be, we're just going to have football. I don't think that we're going to have fans in the stands, but I could be wrong. So we're just going to have to adjust accordingly and hope for the best, expect the worst, and we won't be disappointed. And if we aren't able to have fans in the stands, I'll be okay with it. I will just happen to have a lot of watch parties. I can tell you, it's kind of crazy. Hips are usually stronger after surgery. Hips are usually, and Hill's not a bust yet. He still has potential. Well, Bones, I'm glad you asked that because, see, you must not watch the Joe Boo Sports Report. I actually, my last video was about just that. See, here's the thing. Everybody's gone through, the Cowboys, they can't pay Dak Prescott now because the salary cap's going to go down next year and they're going to get screwed. Well, possibly. But the NFL, like I said, which is like its own country, the NFL plans for everything. And they understand that that is a possibility. They already know that if we can't have fans in the stands, we may be losing revenue that we'd normally get from the stadiums. And so what they're doing is the NFL and the NFLPA are already negotiating. They're working on that plan right now as contingency. And what they're looking at is because they know they're going to get more money because the television contract. And here's this is me, man. This is my thought process here, okay? I haven't seen this anywhere yet. But this is my thought process because, you hear everybody say, oh my God, if you don't have fans in the stands, that's money that the NFL is going to lose, which is true. You're not going to have the gate revenue. All those people that manage the stadium and things, the concession, the Pepsis, the hot dog vendors, they're going to lose money, right? And of course, that's money directly that the NFL will lose. However, here's where the NFL wins. The NFL wins because if we're not in the stadium, if that 80 or 90,000 people aren't in the stadium, right, for the Cowboys, where are they? They're watching on television. They are streaming it. They're watching the NFL Network, Red Zone. So here's the reverse side of it. This is where it's a boom. The television networks, the streaming companies, NFL Network. So you lose the fans over here. It's not like these fans just disappear, like, oh my God, and they come back 3 years later. They just evolve to another platform. So yes, the NFL will lose money coming in next year. But here's the thing. Think about the NFL draft. The NFL draft, which had a 35% increase of watching. 35% increase. You don't think that the NFL, like let's say hypothetically, we don't have fans in the stands and the NFL, when they have to renegotiate the television contract in 2021, they go through and say, you know what? Viewership was up in 2019. Viewership is way the hell up in 2020. We made you guys a whole lot of money. And also, too, if college football isn't going, the NFL has a contingency plan to play on Saturday. So, what the NFL and the NFLPA are looking at is they're saying, okay, we know we're going to get more money from a television contract. We know we're going to get more money from gambling. We have projections because of league peace and know we're going to have a 17th game in the season, that we're going to add 2 playoff teams to the mix. We know that the salary cap is going to go up in those years, or we're going to have money from that. So what we're going to do is we're going to estimate where the cap's going to be in 4 years and then divide it out. In essence, they're just borrowing money from the future to take care of now. Because the reality is, I think the highest amount of cap space right now is 30. I want to say the Browns have like 36 million, somewhere in the 30s, right? Right? If you lose 30 or 40 million dollars in the cap, you're going to have to go through and say to Aaron Rodgers, hey, Aaron, we want you to take a $10 million cap. We want to drop $10 million off of your salary, even though you're playing the same amount of games that you're doing. Players going to be like, that ain't my problem. I'm still risking and using up my career. It's not my fault. I'm still doing the same job description. I'm not going to take a cut. And so that's what they're working on. So that way you don't have mass cutting in the future. That's where the NFL is smart. So there will be a season. I can pretty much guarantee you there will be a season. At least in my mind. And so that's when the NFL goes through and says, hey, television networks, yo, dog. You know, when you didn't have all your sitcoms that were going, you see how popular football is, because they'll probably put in some more stuff like they did the draft to make it even more appealing. You know, there's talk of having everybody mic'd up. You know, they'll probably look at the XFL, some of the stuff that they did, you know, where you're interviewing the coaches on the sidelines right after a boneheaded play and stuff. You know, maybe they end up changing some of the rules where it's more exciting and you can see it better at home than on TV. Oh, and there's gambling money too. You can best believe that they're going to make the experience a whole lot more fun. So that way they don't lose. And on top of it, do you think they're going to be going to a soft cap like? Well, it's possible that they go ahead and do a waiver, maybe, but they won't have to. If you go through and say, okay, hypothetically, let's say by our projections, Junebug, what's up? I loved it. Actually, I'm going to post it on the community tab, man. They look great. Let me know if you and Junebug. If you said that you wanted to get a couple more. If you do, email me, because I want to make sure I hook a brother up. I want to hook a brother up, okay? Seriously, I want to hook you up, bro. They won't have to go to a soft cap. So let's say hypothetically the NFL is saying in 4 years, we think the cap should be, if it weren't for Corona, that the cap would be over $300 million. So what they do is they say, okay, we just prorate that and just divide it out. We'll say next year will be 25, then the next year would be, 50, 75, and then, 375. So you keep the caps the same. But basically, the NFL, they got plenty of money where they can just go ahead and say, we'll just borrow the money for the future. You know what I'm saying? That's been tabled, the 4th and 15. That's an idea that they have, but they put it to the side for now. That's not a new rule just yet. See, that's kind of XFL-ish is what that is. Because if you think about the XFL, one of the rules that they had was they did away with the extra point as far as kicking it. You actually had 3 things that you could do on the extra point. You could go in from the 2-yard line and get 1 point, from the 5-yard line to get 2 points, or you could go from the 10-yard line and get 3 points. And that was a way of adding some extra excitement to the game. So it helped change those 2-score games that literally 9 points you could make up, on one drive. And that was actually, that was one of those things that was actually kind of exciting. It didn't happen very often, but it was something and an option that you have. So the idea of having the 4th and 15, hey, I'd rather do that than try an onside kick. I think you got a better chance than with the new onside rules. With the onside kicking now, where you can't get the running start, you're not getting an onside kick. The game's over. There's no point in even having it. Because, see, what you have to understand is, like what we were taught when we would try and do an onside kick. You'd have some guys whose job is, okay, the point of attack is, we're kicking over here to the right. You got 2 guys in the area that's there. You basically have 4 guys. Your job is to jack up those 2 guys right there. You hit them and knock them out. And then you have your hands people that come behind, hopefully, to get the ball. You can't have that without a running start. The running start gave the advantage where you've got some time where you're actually getting ahead of the football. You don't have enough time to get ahead of the football. The other guys are going to catch it. They're done. It's over with. Game over. At least 4th and 15, you can have kind of a Hail Mary type of a play where you're trying to get that first down. At least you're putting it in the hands of your offense, which are guys that are your playmakers. There's nothing worse than, here it is, I'm paying a quarterback $30 million a year. I got a great running back that's in the backfield, and here it is, I'm putting the backups and a kicker to decide the game. We've had all these guys back here fighting, digging, and clawing all game long, and now the game is out of their hands. At least that's my thought. But again, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. Making raps. Always so much to do, so much to do. So how's everybody doing here today? Feeling okay? It's Thirsty Thursday, and it's hot outside here. Where's my comments? CeeDee Lamb, I met. What about CeeDee Lamb? Junebug, I can do that. I just have to, yeah, they got NBA color. They do have the NBA color list. So yeah, I can do Miami Heat. That's no problem. See, what it used to be was Glidden Paint and Home Depot had an agreement like 2013-14 where they had all the team colors, all the college teams, NFL teams, and basketball teams. But what happened is, I guess they didn't renew it, and Glidden changed their color formulas. Now, they still have the numbers, and some of the colors, it's no problem to get matched up. Cowboy colors, great, no problem. Some of the teams, though, the color formulas don't match up. And so sometimes what I have to do is I'll take in, this is where I was actually lucky. When we did the road trip for United Way and I had to go from team market to team market, I got a refrigerator magnet, excuse me, not a refrigerator magnet, a car magnet for each one of the teams. So every time we went to an NFL city, we put that magnet on the car. So it was like, okay, we done been to that one. So I still have those magnets, so I can take those in and say, here, color match it. So you see over there, that's Mississippi State. Mississippi. So what I ended up doing for that one was I actually ordered a Mississippi State Bulldog sticker and had them color match that one so it's the right color. Same thing with Jackson State over there. So that's how I can get the exact colors for them. NFL teams, no problem. You can get that pretty easily. And right now I'm getting to the point where I know I have San Francisco, Dallas, Raiders, Cleveland Browns, Eagles, Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, of course, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Steelers. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody else, but yeah. Change the onside because the percentage of getting so low. Yeah, they need to. How do you know CeeDee Lamb won't have a crazy year and Zeke get off this year? Well, I'm hoping CeeDee Lamb has a great year. You look at it, let's be, quite frankly, Randall Cobb coming off of the last few years he actually had a really good year. It was the best year he had since 2014, and he was getting older. So now you've got a young guy that you can put into the slot. He's got some speed, he's got hands, he's used to going down deep. It's going to be interesting. I'm not either, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen, which is my point. You can't say for sure till you see them play. You're right about that. We'll see. And the other good thing, at least, now if it's a team that I think, New Orleans, that's another one I love. If it's a color that I think I'm going to need a lot of, I'll get a quart of it. But here's the good thing, is what you can do is you buy the sample size. So like that's San Francisco. So with any sample size is about enough to do maybe 2 to 3 racks. And this is like $3.50, $4 for each of them. So you don't have to buy a whole lot of paint. Because if I were to try and buy, a gallon of paint of every team, it'd be freaking ridiculous. It costs a fortune. And I've got this whole drawer full of them. But what I do is, if it's a team that I know I'm going to do probably more of them, like this is Cowboys silver right here. I actually have a gallon of it up there. I've got Cowboys blue and white, all in gallons, and I just refill the quarts. And other teams, I'll get a quart of them too. So it's $15 for that. But then, I'm going to be doing, you look at it and say, unfortunately, I'll do a couple of Eagle ones. So might as well buy a quart of it. I don't know that you guys saw it because I put it on Instagram. It was actually, and I wish I had had the camera running longer. So it was kind of funny. I touched up the gray. There was a couple little white spots on it.
That's fine.
I was at the pet store, right? And I got my cowboy mask on. I'm cool. I got my cowboy mask on. And I'm getting the fish. There's a guy with a little teeny dog who's got an Eagles shirt on. And the dog is like right there at my feet. He's all like, oh. And I realized, oh, he's got an Eagles jersey on, right? The funny thing was the dog kept staying at my feet. The guy's trying to leave and he's pulling on the leashes. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And he just kind of stops. The guy's still pulling on the leash. And I turned off the camera, but the dog was still standing at the doorway looking at me like, help, help, help. I don't want to wear this ugly sweater. Help. I'm just saying. Because we have weapons of the weapons we have. Not saying he's going to be Randy Moss, just saying it's possible. It's possible. Well, one thing with the receivers. Now, here's the thing. Receivers are one of those things that, generally speaking, you don't see them come out of the box and be great. Very few and far between come out like Odell Beckham did. Usually, receivers are one of those positions that take time to really develop, especially as the number one. And that's where it's actually going to be kind of good that you have Michael Gallup, who's been getting better, the 2 years that he's been here, and Amari Cooper, that he's not having to come out and be the guy, where those guys can take off a lot of the attention and stuff, and he can kind of work his way into it. You're not relying on saying, okay, you're our number one draft pick. We need you to perform today. You can bring him along and put him and use him in certain situations. So that's what I have to say about that. So, yeah, I think, because a lot of times what happens to high draft picks is the expectations are what kills them more than anything else. Because a team has used a first round draft pick, especially quarterbacks, and they go to a bad team and they are thrown to the wolves. That speed between college football to the NFL is freaking unbelievable. And so if you end up going from, maybe you went to one of those really good schools that have, where you have more talent than anybody else, and you just literally blow everybody away, that's great. Until you get into the NFL, and now everybody is about the same talent level, or better than what you've ever seen in your life. And some guys thrive on it, other guys wilt from it. You just don't know what you don't know when it comes to the NFL. That's where you can look at, somebody like Charles Haley. Think about Charles Haley. Charles, JMU. JMU's infancy. It's not the JMU now that's actually becoming a football factory that's won 2 national titles and been to 3 championship games besides those. JMU, we weren't winning more than 3 or 4 games a year with Charles Haley and Gary Clark there. And Charles Haley was a 4th round draft pick. He didn't have the pedigree that you expect. Not like, say, a Tony Mandrich, who everybody thought was going to be, the revolutionized offensive line. But Charles Haley became an absolute positive beast in the NFL. And see, that's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. Sometimes it's the guys you never heard of or never thought much about that become the great ones. And the guys that you think are going to be great, they will. Philly 500 owns us both. Okay. You say, I'm not arguing with stupid people. I'm not going to argue with stupid people. Danny, you must not listen to the Joe Boo Sports Report enough. I started out this segment saying that tomorrow, the 5th of June, that coaches are allowed to re-enter facilities across the NFL. Tomorrow, the 5th of June. So Mike McCarthy is getting out of Green Bay and headed to Dallas with the rest of the coaching staff. Now, we don't have an exact word when the team's players are going to be able to go there, other than ones that are rehabbing. But they're in the process of slowly opening up these buildings. So as we were talking about, basketball by the end of July will actually start an 8-game season with 22 teams, in which case then they'll go to playoffs. So their season will go from the end of July until like October 12th. Yeah, 2 days after my birthday. So there's that. I see. I like having a lot of weapons means you can't. Well, I love having a lot of weapons because, and I think a lot of times last year, we forgot about all the different weapons that we had, that we would rely too much on the mainstay being Zeke Elliott up the middle, and we forget about guys like Blake Jarwin. Blake Jarwin was actually pretty good at catching the football, but we relied on the old standby, Jason Witten, Father Time. We forgot about Tony Pollard. Now, and this is where people are going to say, oh, there you go, because when it was, third down and short, you were talking about Tony Pollard should be out there. Now you're talking about we forgot about it. It's like, listen, Zeke Elliott's my money man, right? Junebug. Oh, Junebug. Actually, I've got a video coming up because I think Skip Bayless needs to be scared about his job. Skip. Well, tune in later because I got some news on Skip Bayless. I got some news. I got some news that I'm going to share later. But it's kind of crazy how he's kind of devolved and become the anti-Dak. You notice that? What's up, Texbred Cowboys 83? How you doing? Only because you're 23 and haven't seen. Yeah, I understand that. I understand. Oh, I tell you what you do, man. Cowboys realist. Here's what I want you to do, man. I want you to go back and look at some of the 70s football. Look at the Dallas Cowboys back in the day. That's when I fell in love with football, truly. And the way they played back, oh my God. Oh. It was a thing to behold. Football was totally different back then than it is now. Back then, that was really a man's game. This whole stuff of, I need a blow, I need a break. I'm going to tell you. When I started playing high school football was when they first started letting you actually have water. It used to be that if you had water, if you need some water to drink, we practiced it. What? You're weak. You're weak. I'm telling you. You didn't get water breaks. And this whole thing of, we can't play in preseason because they might get hurt. There used to be 6 preseason games.
I think it used to be 8.
Well, 6. I remember 6.
Well, when Doc Walker came in, they changed it to, I think, 6.
You had like 6 weeks of training camp, and everybody went out of town. And it was 2-a-days with a special teams practice in between. This whole stuff up, you get a walkthrough in the morning, and you only have 16 padded practices for training camp. Shit, we did that many padded practices in a week. And hitting? Wait. Hitting? That's all we did. We had the 7-man sled we hitting each other. Offense versus defense. We had you tackle. You can't tackle to the ground. What do you mean you can't tackle to the ground? What are you talking about? You can't tackle to the ground. Man, we used to do bull in the ring. Bull in the ring was you get a guy in the middle. And you have about 8 guys around them. Okay? So you're in the middle. You're breaking down. You got your head on the swivel. Coach is there with the whistle. 88. So what happened is you're the bull in the ring. You're in here. He blows the whistle and calls a number. and whoever that number is comes in and hits you. So that could be a guy who's behind you. So when he blows the whistle, you got to look for the guy who's coming to knock the shit out you. Seriously. So you're breaking down, boom, I'm hitting this guy. Breaking down, boom, here comes it. Literally. Okay? And if that wasn't enough, then we would have like Tennessee drills. Tennessee drills. They would take, let me see, do I have any? Let me see, what did I do with it? I don't see my cone. Thought I had the traffic cones. But what they would do is they'd put a couple cones. You get a running back, okay? Get a running back behind you. You got an offensive lineman. You got a defensive lineman. You got a wide receiver. You got a D-back. And what's going to happen is the running back is trying to run between these two cones that are right here. If your ass ain't out the way, he's supposed to run up your back. The offensive lineman's job is blow out the defensive lineman. Keep him from getting the tackle. Right? So I got to block him out the hole and get my ass out the way because it's only this much space in there. Okay? And then they got the cone still. Wide receivers got to block the D-back. This shit live. Boom. Boom. And then we have 11 on 11. And it was tackling. This is every day. And I'm sitting there like, I don't remember all the injuries back in the day that we have now. We hit. And concussion protocol. I didn't know what a concussion was. We just say you saw stars. Or we say it was a blue dot hit. And literally, you get hit and you literally just see these dots that are just kind of floating around, floating around. I don't know how many concussions I had, but I know I had quite a few. I remember times where, I remember one practice I got hit by Adam Burkett in the helmet, right here in the ear hole. And I got launched sideways because I stood up in the hole. And when I came to, I turned my head like this, but I felt like my brain didn't turn with me because I could literally feel it squishing in my head. I was sensitive to light for days, and I had a migraine headache. But you know what? We didn't miss practice. We didn't miss practice. Yeah. And maybe that's what's wrong with me. You were tough. Let me tell. And see, we had a coach, Coach Joe Przicki. He liked to play games with us and stuff. Okay, because see, it was hot one year. Oh my God. We had OmniTurf, which is like the forerunner of field turf. Okay, field turf is long strands. Okay, and they fill it in with rubber. OmniTurf was the first one because we had old turf that used to be like at the vet that was like carpet on this rubber pads that was on top of cement. And that was hell. It was hell. You were tripping on the carpet because it was coming up. So they got this OmniTurf. Now the OmniTurf, long strands of turf, but they backfilled it with sand. Let me say that again. Not ground up tires. Sand. And what would happen is when you tackle people, we would get strawberries. And that's where you just take the top layer of skin off, and it's like a burn. And those things were hell because it never really healed. And you sweat, and it would burn, it would sting. So you were always trying to keep your arms wrapped up. Arms and your knees and things like that. But I remember that it was hot. It was hot. It was so hot that you had the heat waves that were rising up off the field that you couldn't see the other side of the field clear. And it was one of those days that, you just having bad practice. Everybody's hot. Everybody's tired because this is training camp. We got 2-a-days and things. And Coach Przicki is running it literally like boot camp. 7 o'clock in the morning, you got practice. I didn't say you had breakfast. I said 7 o'clock in the morning, you had practice. After practice, 2-hour practice, We'd go to D Hall, which at JMU was the round building. They since tore it down and built a real big one and stuff. We'd have brunch. While we're having brunch, we're watching practice film. From there, we break up into individual groups. And we'd have about an hour break before we'd have special team practice. After special team practice, we had weight training. And then we go to classroom. Then we had our evening practice. And after evening practice, we'd have more classroom. And then finally, you had like an hour and a half before lights out. This was hell. I mean, literally hell. And we had practice where the heat waves are coming up off the field. You're tired, you're sweating. And we're having a bad practice. And Coach Brzezicki is just like, fuck this. On the line, because we're doing gassers. Now, gassers are, you run from one sideline to the other sideline, back to this sideline, back over to that sideline, and over here. And like if you were on the fat guys, defensive linemen and stuff, or offensive linemen, you had to do it under 45 seconds. If you were one of the, wide receivers or skill people, you got to do it like under 40 or 30. I can't remember what time it was. But see, because we were big, this was the advantage because I was one of the fat guys, but I wasn't really that fat. I was only about 220. It wasn't like I was anyway. So we're doing gassers. Trucking along, we're doing okay. We're thinking, okay, practice almost over, so we're doing our gassers. But you're tired because it's hot. It's like 98 degrees and steam's from the field. It's hot. Okay, let's just get through these gases and stuff. The coach is like, yo, blah, 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 are dogging it. Get to the end zone. I'm like, oh, this is a new one. So we're in the end zone. This coach starts having us do gassers from end zone to end zone. You got to run 100 freaking yards out, 100 yards back, 100 yards out, and 100 yards back. And we did 3 of these. We're all like, wasn't good enough. Coach Brzezicki goes through, I'm tired of this mother humping blah, 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 on your knees. We're like, the fuck? Grab it. We crab, which means you're on all fours. You are crawling like a freaking crab from one end zone to the other after doing gassers that are 100 yards each way, after doing gassers from sideline to sideline in like 98-degree heat. By the time some of the guys just literally just kind of rolling into the end zone. We are sucking wind. We're about ready to have a freaking heart attack, ready to quit football. I'm out of this mother humper. That's when Coach Brzezicki gets us all around. And he starts talking to us. He said, you know what? Today, you weren't at your best. You're making mistakes left and right. You're not putting in the work. And I wanted you to understand something. It was hot out here. You were thinking, oh, it's too hot out here. I can't make it. He said, but I wanted you to know that no matter how tired you are, I don't care how you think you don't have anything left. I wanted you to understand that there's more in you. That when it's the fourth quarter, when you're down by 7, you got one shot, one opportunity to get there. And you're tired, you're in pain, that you know inside you can do it. It's like, wow. Coach, I dig what you're saying, but did you have to kill us to do that? But see, that's the difference of football back then versus guys now. I hate to say this, but some of you guys are a little soft. Seriously. I'm telling you, that's the way we work. And as much hitting as we did, I swear, I think some of the problems and the injuries that happen in the NFL is because they don't practice like they used to. It's like literally You got the 15 padded practice. You don't really hit. You don't tackle guys to the ground. If you don't tackle guys to the ground, how do you know how to fall? There's a way of being tackled where you can protect yourself. When you go to tackle somebody, it's not a headshot helmet to helmet. We were taught you bring your head across the body. You take the torso right in here and you drive through them. Not with your head. We didn't use our head as a weapon. And that's why you have guys that are now who don't know how to tackle. Oh, let me go ahead. Okay. And that's why you got head trauma. It's because you don't practice it anymore. And I don't see how it would be like you're a race car driver and you're training for races, but you can never drive more than 55 miles an hour. And come Sunday, you're going to drive 200 miles an hour. How can you go 55 is what I train at. Now, it doesn't work. And that's the problem to me with football now. One of the things that went into the new collective bargaining agreement, less padded practices, shorter training camp, which means I'm going out and playing football. I ain't been hit since the last time I played. And your body gets used to being hit and hitting and calloused. And I don't think these guys get it. And because these guys have become such superior athletes, where you get guys that are 300 pounds that can run a 4.7 40, they are literally like a guided missile. And that's where these injuries happen. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. What happens is I have a flashback. When you get to be old like me, something will trigger a memory, and you go, "Oh man, I remember." And because you don't want to forget it, you have to tell somebody. Oh yeah, the Redskins, like for example, the Redskins had the 5 o'clock club. They had like a storage building that was out on the training field. That John Riggins, the crew, that they would go after practice. They were out drinking beer out there on the field stuff. Soft like a soft and brittle like a cupcake. Yeah, well, soft. I don't know what kind of cupcakes you had that have been brittle, but they fall apart. They crumble. But that's to me, that's a big difference. And I look at when I go to training camp and I'm looking at these guys. It's like that's it. That's practice.
Yeah, I'm okay with training camp.
Huh?
So I'm okay if I never go to another training camp again.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that was nice was the hotel.
Well, true, on the water.
I mean, but
they're hard tacos.
What they're doing now is they're telling teams that
they have to stay home. They can't.
Well, no. It might be something for the future. So really, the only teams that are going to be able to move after this year are probably teams that are in hot climates.
Well, see, that was originally why the Cowboys started going to Oxnard.
The Saints too.
Because
Saints, because it's steamy there.
You actually almost have to look at it from the Cowboys standpoint of they have a great training facility. Now, teams have been changing this up because, for example, it used to be for the Redskins. See, the Redskins are kind of screwed because the Redskins training facilities aren't that good. They've now since put a bubble out there. But they still have the same practice field they had back during the 80s and shit out there. Same old ugly ass turf. And like I said, they put a bubble in there, so they do have that for the heat and things. And they used to actually go to Frostburg State up in Western Maryland where it was cooler. And that's what the Cowboys would originally do, is they would go to California because in Oxnard or Thousand Oaks, the temperature is a lot cooler than say in Dallas. In Dallas in August, you don't want to be outside practicing. It's just too hot. So
the Saints too, because it's so.
Well, the Saints. I remember when we did the road trip. The Saints went to Greenbrier, West Virginia, and worked out.
But the Steelers, they would go everywhere. And they said,
have a pizza. It's kind of dusty and dirty in here. Pizza party in here.
It said Steelers were losing money every time they went somewhere to go to a training.
Well, they go to it's a college.
Yeah, but they said they were losing money. Like some people are losing money going elsewhere. For their practice.
I think is it Latrobe?
I don't know.
Well, I know they were saying that if you go further than 10 miles away for training camp, that you need to do it at home. And I don't know Latrobe because it was a college that they went to, and it was I remember there was a big hill where we came off of. See, I've been blessed. I've been truly blessed because
at least the Dallas Cowboys have a nice facility to work at this.
Vosh's draft predictions are wrong. But, listen. Let's be honest here, Danny.
Yeah,
Danny ordered one of my racks, an Eagle one at that.
You said the hat rack, or did y'all?
The hat rack, I've sprained. The reason why those are only whites because it's hard. So it's out there, right? And the other one that's hanging downstairs will be the other one they'll go to. So
cool.
that's where I paid it. Okay, so I got to do a road trip, and I got to see most of the NFL teams' training facilities. Like the Dolphins. The Dolphins actually, they got a big bubble and stuff down there. They got the outdoor field and things. But we were actually going training camp to training camp during the season. I've even been to the Eagles. Joe Boo's been inside NovaCare.
He got banned from New York Giants.
He got banned from the Giants. Been to New York Giants camp twice. But they've got a big bubble inside, and then they have the outdoor fields and things. So most teams have now since started to have a sports complex where they train and they play. Like the Houston Texans, their training facility is right there beside the stadium, and still has the old Astrodome is still there. Who knows what they're going to do with that thing? They need to do something with it. Have I met any Eagle players? Yes, I have. I met Malcolm Jenkins years ago. I'm trying to remember. Wide receiver, that white guy who ended up being a racist. I met him too because he was actually doing stuff with the United Way. I need to pull out. I need to pull out some of those old videos from Joe Boo.
I don't know if you want to count him as
Riley Cooper. That's it. Yeah, Riley Cooper. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to count him as an Eagle.
Damn. I got a video one time for who was that? Oh, Ron Jaworski. How about that one? I got Ron Jaworski's Super Bowl ring that he got from you guys. Basically, he got one because everybody got one when you won that Super Bowl. Ron Jaworski, Papali, I met him because he was part of a playground build. Mike Mamula. I've got actually all those names are actually autographed on a hat. But yeah, I've met. You're only 18, Ron Jaworski. Yeah, see, you need to understand your history, man. Because you wouldn't know who Concrete Charlie was in either. Ron Jaworski, that's back in the 80s. Your first Super Bowl that they ever went to. Ron Jaworski, better known as Jaws. Also, he's a sports commentator now. Come on, man. Know your team. If you're going to be a fan of a team, know your team's history. Don't just know the last 2-3 years. Know it all. You know Randall Cunningham. Okay, you're getting closer. Before Randall, it was Ron Jaworski, okay?
Jeez. Everybody knows Randall Cunningham.
I just can't. Now I forgot what I was talking. Oh,
Minnesota.
But most teams, even like Tampa Bay, their stadium is right there. They got the training facilities that are there. So most teams have their training facilities that are close to the team, with the exception of teams like the Redskins. The Redskins train in Ashburn, Virginia. Their stadium is a toxic waste dump in Maryland.
Don't they have something in Richmond?
Well, they used to go. Well, and they're beginning to kind of say maybe not on Richmond because it's just not. It's not profitable. And the sad thing is,
it's not profitable because they let you take whatever you want inside.
Well, but not only that, nobody cares about the Redskins. And the sad thing is they took money out of the Richmond school system to build this complex for the Redskins to come down there for like 3 weeks a year, and nobody gives a rat's ass about the Redskins. But that's another thing. We need a Greg Ellis, J. Ratcliffe type. The J. Rat. Oh man, Rat was good for like 2 good years. Got paid and then became a jackass. I think you're gonna see that with Gallimore. Gallimore's gonna be a beast. Tony. No, this is shop time. This is shop time, which means it's me and my boy. It's me and my boy, man. We're a team. Look, we tag teaming all these racks over here that you see.
Yeah, once they dry, once three or four, when 3 of them dry.
Well, we still have to wait. It's not. I think it's supposed to be the 9th one.
No.
The sticker comes
the 2 of them right there. They're in the Dallas Cowboy ones, and then that one that.
This one will be ready too, the shield one. So we'll let those dry. Now this one, can I do this? No, it's still wet.
I'm not sure what.
I just put another coat.
I wasn't sure if they wanted white or if they wanted blue.
I'm gonna do it blue.
I look at the order.
It's a two-face. So,
Yeah,
oh,
good.
you mean? Oh, I got you.
I think they went blue, but I can always double check.
Well, I've got blue. Okay, yeah, I thought it was gonna be blue.
Yeah, I thought
We'll
it
do
was
this
too.
blue.
Yeah, I'll check on the order.
So, that's all I got to say about that. How y'all doing? Actually, hold on. This is probably dry. Grab it. Check that.
Once those are dry, wash my hands.
Damn, it's hot out there.
It is.
I didn't think it was that cool in here, but damn. It's hot as a motherfucker. All right. Oh, this is L4G's going his rack. So we'll let those dry and we'll come back and put all this stuff together. So that's what's gonna be. Look at that. That's gonna be a hat rack for L4G. And then that needs to dry so I can paint that. The white one, I've got that one squared away. We got the silver. On that, we got the sticker on. So I appreciate you guys coming, hanging with me for a bit. Did you just set someone up, or is that one? And that one's got what color in the middle? Lace? Okay. People, y'all just making me work hard on these.
No, this one's not too bad. They want something like a little crazy with the lace.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys later on. Peace.